Hi all, Hal here with more Space Engineers, and today we are going to start working on a more permanent power solution. For those who've been playing along at home, you probably realize I have expanded a little bit. You know, we've got a couple of more wind turbines up, but we have a whole lot of room in order to build a whole lot of stuff. And we need to build a whole lot of stuff because, well, eventually we're going to go take over Mars. But first, we have to get started, so let's go. So happy Monday, everybody. What we are doing, and one of the reasons why we need to start increasing our power production a little bit, is that we are very dependent upon batteries. So basically the wind turbines constantly generate a little bit of power for us. In fact, let's go ahead and turn that on for a second. And what we're trying to do is we want to make sure that all of our batteries, not just for the mining facility, but for the base itself, never run out of actual power. So one of the things that I need to do is to scale up our power collection, and part of this is going to be, yes, we will be putting in a solar farm. We will also be placing some other items down. We're going to basically expand the wind farm. We're going to put in a couple of solar collecting arrays. I don't know if we're going to build one big array or a couple smaller arrays. So there are pros and cons to both. Let me check batteries really quick. So we want to make sure these are going to be recharged in about 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kill that because that's eating our ice supply, and we do have a lot of ice, or we should have a lot of ice. 87k, 22k, 1.5 million. So yeah, okay, we have a little bit of ice. What are you guys? Do we have an engine running somewhere that I am not aware of? You're off, you're off. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Oh, you guys are... It's got to be one of the tanks then. Hydrogen tanks? Yeah. So, because what the engines do is they run off of hydrogen power. So if you don't have a hydrogen tank, they will burn the ice directly, which is much less efficient than if you have hydrogen tanks. But just letting that engine run a little bit, as you saw, went through quite a bit of hydrogen very, very quickly. So do keep that in mind if you want to use hydrogen engines to make up deficits in power. They really are not intended, well, I shouldn't say they're not intended, but they're not a good idea to run them constantly as a primary power source, even if you are on something like Europa where there's a ridiculous amount of ice available pretty much 24/7. Now, like I said, we do want to expand our wind farm. I think I'm going to double the size of the wind farm, and then maybe, because we don't have the efficiency issue with solar that we do with wind. You know, so we basically have to have these things like 7 or 8 blocks above the voxel layer, and I was experimenting with it, and it's basically just in the footprint. As long as the footprint of this, let me see if I can. There you go. So as long as the footprint of this is above, I want to say 8 blocks. It's either 7 or 8 blocks above the voxel layer. It's fine. So what you can do is just dig a trench around what you're trying to do, and as long as the majority of the footprint is clear on the voxel layer, you'll get your efficiency. So you don't have to actually level large areas, you just have to trench around it if you're not hitting your efficiency like you want. Which does mean that we have some interesting options moving forward, because what I'm thinking is I may actually bring these up like another to here, place one wind turbine on top, and then place additional wind turbines on each of the sides. We'll basically build that out a little bit, so that the blocks don't overlap each other, and we may be able to get a little bit more densely packed power production. So instead of having, you know, 15 or 20 towers, you have one tower with, like, say, 5 wind generators on it. But I'm not sure if what we're gonna be able to do with that, and if it'll work quite the way that I'm wanting it to. It'll be an interesting experiment. In fact, I may do that back here. Have the individuals there, and then let's see, this should be an odd number, right? It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're gonna go to here, and I want to make sure it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be where we would need it and run the tower up normally. But because these are 3 by 3 by 3 cubes, that means we need to take this back. 1, 2, 3, and then run that up. And so now that we have that, see, I'm kind of curious now. I want to see how this works. Okay, and that should might be one too many. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so how many blocks was that? So that puts us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which in theory should be what we need it to be. Oh, you know what? I need to take that back one more. Damn it. It needs to come back one more, because I need to place a spacer block. So we'll bring it back 2 just because, just to be safe. And do that. That should be good. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna build this out a little bit. Let's see. Not quite sure what I'm going to do on those corner pieces, but for now, we don't need a whole lot. Okay, so I need... Actually, I think I have everything I need to build some of these. Alright, now, if we do this right... I mean, because I was inside the bounding block for it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to see if when we place these, we'll get these welded up. And I'm kind of curious. Oh, I need more interior plates. Alright, so let's get the rest of this welded up. Interior plates and girders, interior plates, girders, and components. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab like another 100 of each. Alright, so this is why we've been doing so much mining off camera. We've got plenty of those. What did we say? We need components. We'll grab some more computers just because, and more girders. Okay. And like I said, I'm kind of curious to see if this works, because if this works, we'll be able to get like ridiculously dense amounts of power in areas. So I'm kind of curious to see what our efficiency ends up as with these. Okay, so we now have 5 more reactors online, or wind turbines, I should say. Let's take a look here. These should be the only ones. We'll hide the other ones. Optimal, optimal. Oh, look at that. So we can get ridiculously dense power in a very small footprint. So if those are all optimal, I'm going to check something here. What are we looking at for output? So just shy of 400 kilowatts times the 5. So you're looking at basically 2 megawatts off of that one stack. So that one small stack is putting out slightly more power than those. Oh, I can see we are going to be building large arrays of those things. Okay. And they're ridiculously cheap. Now, granted, they don't give you as much power as I probably would normally like. But, you know, we'll make do with what we got. I'm not going to lie to you. Alright. So, you know what? Let's do it this way. And what we're going to do is... That's fine. Now this is going to be our power LCD. And we want this to be power. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, so one turbine stack over there is half of our power, so 2.2 megawatts is coming off of that. Oh, that's awesome. And we're only using about half that power right now. Oh, that works really well. Really well, actually. Okay, so if we do... We're gonna add in the power time command. We're going to put a blank line in, and I want to have this be our status report. Alright, so we hit OK, give it a couple seconds to update. Hey, look at that. Awesome. Okay. So right now, we've got a lot of power. Okay. I want to get all of our batteries. And we're going to set them all to recharge. I want all of my batteries charging constantly. All of my batteries. What are you guys doing? You're set to recharge. You're set to recharge. Okay. You guys should also be set to recharge. Alright, I'm going to see how that's doing for power. Nice. Okay, so we've only got 1.9 megawatts going into batteries right now, which is good. We are now using all of our power probably on the refineries. I think all of our refineries are running. Oh, and one of the things I did was, I think we started on this off camera, or, well, we might have started on this on camera. I don't remember now. But basically we've got the large storage in now. And what I've done is I've just done little corner cap restraint kind of things. This way, if I need to place anything on here, I can run a sorter block here, or not a sorter block, but a conveyor junction block, and run piping pretty much in any direction I need to, which is actually going to be very useful because we're going to need to put some defenses out here. We don't want meteors and things coming down and destroying our base. So, okay, so that is the first bit. Man, I am really tempted to now just gut the power systems out of here. That works really well. I'm liking that. Okay. Let's see. We could do a static solar farm in the middle here, but I think that would impact the efficiency of these. And I don't want to risk that. So, maybe we will run solar over on this side. Run it off of, I guess we could run it... How many plates do I have? So I have 70 plates, okay. So if we did... See, I don't want to impact anything on the runway area here, because we still need to do a actual hangar. And I'm thinking we might do an actual hangar
Energy low.
over here. We'll move the merge block. Maybe. Alright, so we have a little bit of planning to do. I'm going to do a quick cut. I'm going to take a look, see where we can throw solar in, because I may end up running the solar out that way, to the east of the base, which is probably what we're going to do. And then we'll run more production back this way. So the sun is going to be on that side constantly, because the sun is coming up over there and setting over there, which is actually... Wow, I just realized it actually does travel east to west. I never actually paid attention to that before. Okay, so yeah, let me go ahead and take a little look, start doing some planning, and then we will be right back. And we're back. Okay, so I figured out what I want to do with these things. What we're going to end up doing is putting another row of solar collectors on top of this. So what we've done is, you know, basically my normal solar array at this point. I've done a little bit of change to some of the blocks we're using. Let me walk you through this really quick. So we've gone ahead and brought this out a ridiculous distance to make sure that it's not impacting with the wind generators. Brought it up far enough that we'll be able to have, you know, just a single row of solar panels on each arm. And then we're going to double this up by putting another row on top of them. I'm probably going to bring this out to be one more, so it'll be 8 panels to each side, so a total of 16 panels, which should make up the deficit, or any deficit that we may run into when we're charging all of our batteries, so we don't have to run hydrogen pretty much constantly the entire time. All right. So I think that's where we are right now. I need to get... No, don't want to do that. So we need to get this thing welded up. We're going to need steel plates, steel tubes. Let's see if we can get everything but the steel plates and tubes done. We can. Awesome. Because what I want to do is I want to reset all of the rotors to 0. So this one I think is 0 is on the top. This one is 0 is facing the ground. But if we get all of these reset to 0, we'll be able to go ahead, weld everything up, add the panels, and then what we'll do is we'll put the solar panel, ISI's solar panel script in, and then we'll use that to control the whole system here. You know what might have been better is if I had attached the rotor here. I guess technically I could still do that, right? If I took those out, no, no, you know what? Screw it. No, I do have to take that apart. Damn. Okay. Because when we go to tip it, this will be 1 block, well, actually 2 blocks lower, which on this side means it'll be smacking the ground. So yeah. All right, let me take this thing apart. We'll boost this up one. Actually, can I? I've got no steel plates left. Of course not. Let me grab that one and that one, because I'm kind of curious.
Low.
See if I can get away with this. Nope. That's what I was afraid of. Okay. So we'll go ahead, fix all of this up, get it welded in, and what I'll do is I'll bring it back once we have all of it sorted, and we'll look and see what the power generation is. And looks like it's sun's going down, so I'm gonna have a little bit of time to do all of this. So, all right, we'll be right back, and we're back. So we have. Let me turn on the light so maybe you can see something. We've gone ahead and now have 12 instead of the 16. We're going to add one more solar panel to each end here to increase this by another 4 to get us up to that 16 mark. But I want to show you where we were currently, and I'm planning on not welding up the stuff in the middle. What we did is we used the 2-part ramp, the upper portion of the 2-part ramp, the light armor slope base, I guess, and then we put in the double-walled catwalk in between to give us a little bit of space and, you know, just give it up, break up the surface a little bit, make it look a little bit more interesting. And I'm thinking, because I've used this design or a similar design on some of the ships. Normally you would see it on the back of the ship, like the rovers or something like this, just because of the way that I tend to enjoy having a walk area here in between the panels. So, you know, if you need to do something, you can always patch it in and maybe put like a window over top of it. You could end up basically sealing this entire thing if you had to. But just some ideas. Anyway, so we've gone ahead and added in, it says solar alignment script. That is up and running now. We're just waiting for the sun to come up. We've gone ahead and I'll turn off my lamp. Let's get rid of that thing so you can actually see what we're talking about here. So we've gone ahead, of course it is, added in a light so you can actually see this thing at night. And this is the statistics for it. Basically, you just create an LCD and name it exclamation point, capital S, capital A, capital S, right? So SAS. And it'll auto-populate everything for you. And by default, it'll tell you everything for your power systems. It'll tell you solar panels, it'll tell you wind turbines now, it tells you batteries, as well as oxygen. One thing it doesn't add is hydrogen. I'm actually kind of surprised about that. And I wouldn't be too shocked to find out that, you know, the next update of the script will include it, since hydrogen is used by the hydrogen engines. Now, the one thing that you'll notice is that hydrogen engines do not show up on this list. They do, however, show up on the automated or automatic LCD2 script. So if you do need them, you can always put in a second display and run just the power results that way. For what we're doing, this actually works out really well because basically all of our general power production is right here. So this at a glance tells us what's everything doing. So yeah. All right. So we have added in some light back here so we can actually see. We have increased our power output and we have solar panels up and running now. So I think it's been a pretty good day, and that should take care of most of our power concerns, at least during the day. At night, if we really need to, we can always run the hydrogen, which is what I was trying to do, is make it a secondary, just like a supportive system and not a primary system. I need to get some power. Let me jump in the chair here really quickly, because what I think we're going to do next, can I? Oh, I can't go external. I keep forgetting I turned off all the external cameras. I'm thinking what we're going to do next is start looking at making our vehicles a little bit more practical. I'm thinking we may take the small miner that we have in front of us and scale that up to a large grid variant and replace the beast of a miner that we have right now. And we'll keep doing that until we get to the point where we can find some uranium. That's what I'm really looking for. So, you know, I've been talking to some folks, and yeah, uranium is ridiculously rare. It is the unicorn of the game now. They've taken it off of all planets, all moons. It only spawns in asteroids, and in most seeds so far, it has been the most rare of the resources in the game. It's just absolutely crazy how much time and energy it's taking to find this stuff. So it really is pushing folks to use other forms of power. Now you can add, or you can use the modded planets, or if you are so inclined, you can add it into your save. Just turn on the set yourself in creative mode, add the hand voxels, and then you go to town. You know, you can add whatever resources you want. I'm not doing that. because one, it's a little cheaty, and two, it's kind of interesting to see what happens when you are forced to not rely on some of the things that you're used to relying on. So we're finding new ways of using the things that have been introduced, like the new power system. So we now have a higher density, the ability to create higher power density systems. The one problem that you run into, though, is that you have to have some atmosphere in order to use the wind turbines. If there's no atmosphere, so basically if you slap one of these things on the ship, it only works when you're in a natural gravitational field. There has to be some form of atmosphere there for it to work. So yeah, it's becoming a much more interesting game as far as the survival aspect and production aspects are concerned. And I think that with the way it's going to be something that we'll be doing for quite some time. So, all right. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. When we come back next time, I think we may be working on a production facility for ships. We have the small hangar here, which is nice because it allows us to have a place to recoup. But it is not practical for ship building, and we need something that's going to be a little bit better for ship manufacturing. And so what I'm thinking is that we are going to produce a shipyard. We've talked about it before. This is our docking area, so it would make sense to have a shipyard probably either off to the side here or maybe down in this valley area a little bit. So what I'm thinking I may do is use our beast of a miner, flatten all this area out, basically excavate all of this ice out of here, and give us a nice area to work from, and then we'll start piping things in. I may even just say the hell with it and run some blocking down this way and just level this whole thing out. That might be a thing. I'm kind of tempted to start strip mining this area over here and setting us up with a much larger refinery system. I'm thinking 2, maybe 3 refineries for each resource type. But I'm not sure I want to do that on this particular base because of the fact that most of our large capacity stuff for resources is going to be out on the asteroids. In fact, you can see I've got some nickel over there, and I've got some iron, I think, in that asteroid in the center of the screen there. I think we've got some stuff over there. Right. Oh, do we? Let me check. Nope, we've only checked the one asteroid. Okay. So yeah, we definitely have to go do some exploration. We have to get the rest of the base set up. I do like the idea of having a centralized ship production. We've done that in the past, but we've never really used it for large scale production. And I'm thinking what we're going to do is we may play around with some of the auto miner scripts. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw them down in the section below. And if you haven't done so already, you're new to the channel, or just want to do something nice for me today, there's that little subscribe button down there, right, you know, like bottom right corner of the screen. Give that a smack, and if you want to be kept up to date around here with what's going on, make sure you ring the bell. They keep telling me that actually does do something. I don't know. It's, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you'll have a fantastic day. Enjoy your week, and we will see you back here next time for more Space Engineers. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. Okay, so now we just have to wait for sunrise so that will start charging. And we need to figure out how we're going to do our production area.